can do the job. So I think he's a really interesting player from that perspective and definitely one to look out for.
All right, let's see which map we're going to be playing on. Super excited to go into this game and actually see some oh, I love it.
At least it's not as
That's why you didn't tell me the map.
I actually didn't.
Oregon is Oregon is our decider here as Talon will ban Cafe. James, makes sense from your POV or not?
It's not a great map for either team, to be honest. The thing that I find funny is Talon actually banned Villa, which was the map these guys played last time, and it ended up really good for Talon. They won 7-5, really strong set of attacks, 4 in a row. But Oregon, yeah, I've never seen Electrify win Oregon, literally. Never seen them win Oregon. They played it twice. They lost it. They lost it to Xavier 4-7. They also lost it to Noringo 4-7. Talon recently lost it also 4-7 to Scars, which was a bit of a surprise. I think we could see some potential here for Electrify. Not the best map for either team. Maybe, what's the opposite of common ground? Because I think that's where we are right now. Common bad
Uncommon
ground.
Not common ground.
Uncommon air. There you go. This is an uncommon air for both of these teams.
There is no Venn diagram. I just want Talon to do what they did back in stage 1 and bring the Blackbeard every round. Come on,
BMW.
give me some spice in my life.
That would definitely be something difficult to deal with, I have to say. It still puts a bit of fear in people's minds. And we saw that even in our last game, Cloud9 themselves, after having 6-0 up advantage on Fnatic, they kind of got overconfident. So even if you're ahead here, you can, I think that the specific term is you cannot be like, you can't stop being even more ahead. When you're ahead, get even more ahead. This is like a StarCraft term coined by the very smart Tastosis. So when you're ahead, get more ahead. There it is. ASAP, let's go into our game. Gio, Demarta, thank you so much. Our king and queen on the analyst desk, but another king and queen await us on the caster desk. Fluke, take it away. Electrify for Talon.
Just had to quickly check if it was not unmuted this time. I am unmuted. Hello.
Yeah, everybody's falling for that. Like how everybody is falling for Milos. Do you ever feel a little bit cheated that he calls everybody a king and queen?
Yeah.
Or do you feel like
it was just us? And now...
Yeah. Do you feel like he just doesn't understand the hierarchy of power that the crown holds?
There are petty kings and queens.
And there are noble. And there is a prediction on the board in front of you. 65-35. I think that is a fair split between these two teams and the expectations we have going in, because neither's played great, but one has been better than the other in the long list and history of these things.
I took a bit of a gamble with this one.
Oh yeah.
I've heard of Electrify, actually.
Okay.
As together with Milos, the rest all went for Talon. No one seems to be believing in the electrical powers.
So far all of my predictions today have been wrong.
Well, that bodes well for me in that case.
It does. It kind of sets everybody else up well. If you ever want to know what's going on, I guess just today, look at the opposite of what I'm going. I did vote Talon for this. They were my prediction. They were my group put forward here. And I guess let's see if they can make Oregon something that works for them. As the illustrious Dev Marder put it before, Oregon's not a great map for either of them.
It's the uncommon air ground, as was said.
It's the uncommon air ground. I think that's why
Milos... Is that an actual word, or is that... Because
yeah.
I just don't know if... Is it? Okay.
Well, no, it's not an actual word, Hap.
Okay. You know, I'm just a Dutch person, you know. I'm not...
Trying your best.
I'm trying my best.
I think there's
a
reason that Milos started actually quoting phrases from other esports and other games, because we're all idiots here. Hey, Iana, Clash, Mirror, Thatcher, gone off the board. Get him out of there as we start this game going up. Dev is atting me and apologizing to me in the broadcast chat, but I don't know why.
What did he do? Iana was Ed's most played up in stage 2. So it's a counterban to come in.
It's a counterban to come in. That's the apology. That's the...
No. The apology was he tanked one of production and not you. So it's like...
Oh, okay.
Sorry, meant Captain Fluke. He used to be a bit more specific in that one.
Laundry and supply. One thing I'm just going to quickly say,
Yes.
because obviously Oregon has been seen a lot. Yeah, sure. Okay, cool. Rad. This week, not so much. It was, sure, over 50% the first week of play across the board of EU and APAC. This week, Yeah, we've seen it a couple more times, and yeah, it's still up there in the perspective, but we have seen some map diversity.
We have seen some map diversity indeed. This is the first time in 9 maps here on EU and APAC broadcast that we will get to see Oregon again. So it's been a while, and it feels like a lost child we finally found back at the mall, really.
Yeah, I mean, in a way.
For so long, and now it's gone, and it's back again.
Yeah, well, let's see if it's back in the hands of either of these two teams. Now it's been slightly off the beaten path. Maybe one of these two can find a little bit of an area to stretch their legs in and start to put some damage against their opponents. We've often and always cited the attack of APAC, how it's quite a quick region on some days, and other days things can get a little bit slow and steady, but I like the stretch of Shield, Utility, and Melusi all the way around onto blue. They are fully expecting and compensating for a bit of blue pressure and push here, and well, that's with the doubling down of the Goyo, a lot of solidity that they're offering themselves. They have the wobs to allow them to have some bit of a banshee cry before anything even begins to start to apply some pressure, but well, it seems like Ray wants to apply the pressure themselves as they start to slowly creep up T1.
Really like how the term Whoop Whoops came through instead of Banshee. I think at this point we should just make an official
I threw both in.
petition. Should make an official petition actually to try and rename it. Maybe the community will succeed. But yes, they will have enough information on their site to try and find out where it will be coming from. They have the denial as well with the Goyo shields and with those smoke canisters. So Electrify, all they need to do here is stall out as much time as possible, because Talon are the ones that have to come to them. And after a minute, only now, possibly they will be starting opening up these hatches with just their Maverick and Hibana they have available to them.
I like that they've generally thrown themselves as a bit of a stack across the entire board here, because as I said before, the extension seems pretty vast inside blue and elbow, as a lot of teams generally do lead their attack here, but it seems like Talon has read that. So instead, they're going to start applying some pressure onto Laundry and onto Freesia and go for a pinch on the opposite side. If they can kind of segue their way around 60% of the defenses, well, they've already done some work. It is now down to the read here from Electrify to see if they can kind of fix the problems that might possibly arise from not having all the attention and the focus in the right place. Soldiers his way through into Freezer and starts to dig across, trying to buy some space for BD and Labyrinth on the opposite side. There's a man close as the calls come in and give that game away, but with the pressure from the Ash on the opposite side, it might draw some away, and it does. Triple lift. First off the board, as Soldier swings it around, and the smoke canister's going to buy a little bit of a time for Seinu. But, well, you look at Ed, you look at Ray on the opposite side, you look at the one blue body on that T2 stairs. They've got to drop that before they have any confidence in rotating to help.
Indeed, they need to rotate around as Triple Lift fell first. Tomorrow now wants to try and get a second one, but he will be missing his shots greatly and vastly, as that BD will be picked up by Sino. It's a very unfortunate gunfight there tomorrow that he wasn't able to win, but seems like his gunfights are there to make up for it, as Labyrinth will be pushing through from the Laundry. Right now, blue control slowly being established as well. That's unlucky timing for Pikachu, but it's going to be allowing Talon to move through, and the plant will be coming through as we speak. The comeback might be on, as Ray and Ad will be able to find something for themselves, but they need more than this.
Terrible timing, and great utility is swinging all the way into the favor of Talon right now, as it leaves it just down to Ed, the highlighted player from the start of the day. Unfortunately, the final kill highlighted as Talon locks it off with what was a pretty well put together attack there. As I said and cited, they split what they needed to do. They realized how much focus was on that blue and that elbow and that pillar side, as there often is. They threw a bit of attention and distraction there with a well-played Ash set who was able to just keep the focus away from the rest of the push. Sure, the defenders were well aware that there was pressure coming from the opposite side of the diffuser, but you cannot just turn a blind eye to a player like Tomorrow on that Ash. You have to deal with the little problem before you can try and deal with the huge one. Otherwise, that little problem turns into, well, a round in the favor of the attackers.
All right, there we have it. Indeed, that round went into the favor of the attackers. And Laundry Supply will be chosen yet again by Electrify. Are they going to be able to make it happen this time, though? As not seeing too much difference on their setup, so they must be certain on the fact it was just purely due to gunfights not really going their way. They might be, you know, slowing it down a little bit. I'm not too sure.
There were a couple of moments that otherwise could have swung the other way. You look at, obviously, the unfortunate reload time of Pikachu. You look at, you know, the swing there on the close corners of the Zephyr Soldier lying inside the door of Frieza. One or two of those moments, but that is this game. You can kind of always look at a team and you can see if the adaptation from their point of view is we can fix those problems, or no, we can't risk those problems. And by the boards of Electrify and how they're setting themselves up for a round 2, they're very much in the former camp of there where they believe they can fix them, and I guess it's up to them to try and prove it.
It's up to them to prove it indeed. As pretty similar kind of setup coming out, or strategy, or well, basically just plan of approach from Talon. As it worked out quite well last time around, just take some control, top floor first, as you see PMW do up there with the Dokkaebi. Then drones will be coming in for that first floor before you start executing towards that basement, before you get those X-Kairos in position, before you get the Maverick to open up any walls you would like to maybe see opened up. And as right now, just a bit of utilities being spotted out. It looks like Talon is completely aware of the fact that the ground they want to take is completely safe. They do not have to worry about it. They can start working towards opening everything up right now. It is more efficient as it was the last time around. As well, remember, in 10 seconds from now, they would be done with droning and it would be getting into their positions. It's still, of course, it could be faster, but last time that wasn't the issue.
Yeah, setting themselves up and stacking the control that they have over the top 2 floors. Now it's just a matter of battening down their hatches and battening their way down onto the site itself. There goes the laundry hatch 2, and you can see Tomorrow stacking himself up to try and cause the same problems he did before. I am wondering if Electrify might try and be a little bit more counter-aggressive against the Ash up here, or if they might just try and pay them a little bit less focus, because I mean, if it's going to be step for step from the defense with an attempt at trying to fix things, this is step for step from the attack, and they don't really have to fix anything. It came out successful for them last time, why wouldn't it work the second? I guess that might be down to the change of position of Pikachu. Whether they rotate round elbow after the first body goes, as it does before, PMW takes care of Ed in the opener this time round with a great swing onto Laundry. Either way, this could be what brings Pikachu a little bit further away and forces that Ash into just a 1 versus 1.
Not aware of Sino actually being in that laundry, as he hasn't been spotted out by that drone, so he will still be close to that wall, of course, on that smoke. As a key position, throwing out these canisters. There we go, it will be spotted out now. Has to be careful for potential pushes to come in from the back. And this will be tossing out his last smoke canister to buy him a little bit of time, a little bit of ground to try and contest and divert his attention, as surely the freezer one is about to come through. But Triple Lift is here to try and take care of it. Picks up the first kill, wants to push onto the second, will be able to get that one as well. That's a double kill to come through. However, 2 kills were found on the likes of Talon as well, and that leaves us in a 3-on-3, even split. As BD picks up yet another one, and Tomorrow goes to the pre-fire, he misses. Triple lift from above. This is going to be proving to be a very uphill battle for BD.
Well, he knows Triple lifted the big rotation. Can't quite find the lock-off of the one man that was still close to sight, and too little too late. Can't even finish the animation to save himself the extra 7 seconds. Great rotation from a Jaeger. And if we were going to look at that as a round where the transformation had to be from winning those ones, the transformation towards a losing team to a winning team was down to their adaptation on the plan that they had. They trusted in it. And that trust was well placed, especially in Triple Lift, living up to his name and lifting them with a triple. Kid Storm, Storm's main hall. We had 2 next as we see themselves potentially getting some balance back into this game.
Indeed, we have balanced out with that 1-1. However, Electrify should be the team to be, let's say, rack up about 3, maybe even 4 rounds if they want to be able to get a good half out here. You don't want your opposing team that is on the attack to end up the first half with a 4-2 split, of course. So Electrify have some work ahead. Talon is already halfway there on the preferred round count that you have after the first half. And thus, we need to see more of the Electrify we just saw. More of Triple Lift, for example, with his flanks. That can be so impactful.
As we segue to a slightly different site with a slight different bit of aggression, I'm curious to see how much of that is lent into by Electrify. Because obviously, that kind of came from a great 1 versus 2 in Frieza, and then Triple Lift obviously moved and manipulated from that point onwards, but this is a site and this is a map where you don't really have as true a big rotation. Or an easy way of putting it is all those rotations, if you were to try and make similar aspects on this site, wouldn't generally be internal. You're looking at obviously the big window, which is where a lot of teams try and run the default in through, otherwise they'll break open the walk-in wall. Either way, it becomes a little bit tougher for Triple Lift to play those kind of plays. So are they going to start a little bit further afield and further off site? You have Pikachu underneath with the pulse, but actually they're going to steadily make their way over and just hand over the small tower.
Small tower, not too necessary for the attack, of course. You just have to be careful not a single defender runs out from there as you're trying to tackle the big window. But so far, not an issue. The issue, however, they find now is that there is a mute jammer deployed on that attic wall. The Selmas are active on it, but it needs to be taken care of from below because there is no Thatcher available on that board. And that means one of these players of Talon will have to go from below. And it's most likely going to be either Tomorrow or maybe even Soldier to try and make that happen. As Tomorrow is quite close, just wanting to hunt down Pikachu first, who's here in security. And it's stuck between a rock and a hard place.
And they do have the option of using that C4 to blow the hatch and rotate if they want to take a bit of a risk. Sure, they have an angle. It's not going to be easy. You're probably still going to get shot a couple of times. But otherwise, you've just got to try and hope that you can get some support elsewhere. It doesn't come. PMW catches off Triple Lift as they attempt to, and time is slowly running out as the calls come in. Probably the one on the other end of the line is the Maker, and, well, because he's not going to answer just yet. Still going to stick to his guns, and see if he can dig inside security. Swings aggressively, takes a moment and a chance. Here's the rotation, and, oh, good job you didn't answer that phone.
It's going to be able to rotate out freely. Might be a very impactful one later as Pikachu could be moving up on the back of these armory stairs, maybe coming in for a late flank as right before Talon would strike. That would be the best timing, the best opportunity for him to show up. I have to say though, I really like the fact, or maybe even dislike the fact that Talon completely disregarded the attic for such a long while, as there was a mute jammer down there. As Pikachu, is he not spotting the player right next to him on the same floor as Ash is literally in classroom?
Finally
should be aware right now.
Does catch it, I think, but, well, too little too late as Labyrinth is still taking care of business upstairs. One more defender off the board, but there is Pikachu striking, getting one, but the other man just keeps running away. He needs to push onto the site with only 20 seconds, holds it, and I'm not really sure what cool happened there. Where was the communication that the man came in from behind? Either way, it is just down to the clutch ace situation, blows it. A second, two misplaced, still guns up the stairs to get one more, but 3 is the limit. Should he really have been able to get all 3, though?
He shouldn't have been able to get all 3. At the moment he took down the Ash, the Sludge should have turned around and put some pressure onto him. Instead, Sludge just kept on running and was taken out just seconds after as he was being chased by the Hunter with the heartbeat sensor. But man, Talon able to pick up that round. It could have gone the other way if Pikachu was just a little bit earlier. We're going up for that flank if he managed to get those 2 kills below. Creep up from the back of the armory stairs. But, oh well, 2-1. Current scoreline. Talon are stepping up. They are making happen what needs to happen as they find themselves onto that second round so far. If they manage to get one more, they can be really happy with this health.
Little mistakes often lead to big problems. It's something that we've seen in a couple of games earlier today, and, well, okay, sure, that one came together and Talon were able to pull off the attack win, but you look at little mistakes costing them their win before, if Triple Lift being able to push through in Korean and get the triple, well, you hope that those little leaks of information, intel and bad calls get patched sooner rather than later, because if you want to cite a problem from Talon so far, if you want to cite a problem, and you're looking at this as a team on the bottom of the board, across the board right now, well, that seems to be the most consistent. They have these little slip-ups of information and intel where things just don't get waylaid and kind of four-lane for the players properly, and those little strikes turn into big, unfortunate round losses sometimes.
Got to keep in mind though what we saw on Tuesday. Electrify able to suddenly strike back even though they were so far down. Back then they didn't manage to make the comeback happen. The damage was already too big. But I'm just hoping that they will be growing into this match like they did there. And for that reason, I'm hoping they pick up, let's say, 1, maybe 2 more rounds in his health, because that gives them a bit of a buffer space to warm up properly, to get warmed up, fired up properly, just to give them an opportunity to win this match or force it to overtime to close it out there. As their owner said, we almost pulled a Scars 2.0. Not sure if you remember it, because you weren't there back in the time, but the first game of the season was literally Scars going up against Electrify. Electrify was 5-0 down. They only managed to get 2 kills in total in those 5 rounds, and after that they just started gunning. Something has awakened inside of them, and they managed to turn it all the way around from there. I believe they won it 8-7. And that is basically what we keep on seeing. They wake up during the matchup. They just don't start out that strong, and that is their weakness. But that does mean they need these early rounds to give them a bit of a buffer to wake up to.
Some teams cook when the pressure's on, and some teams, unfortunately, start to fall apart a little. But I guess this is a moment of, well, cooking a grenade and blowing up Ray. First off the board, Talon. Every single open frag so far has fallen into their favor, even in the round that they didn't win, which came from the resurgence of the Jaeger. But it's a perfect start, beat for beat and time after time, because they're also managing to lock it down quite quickly too. And I'm wondering if it's because an overextension from Electrify is costing it. Either way, the extension beneath catches one as they just try and run away again. That's twice we've seen people fleeing from PKSU, and, well, you can't run that fast apparently.
Won't be able to run fast indeed. SWAT's picked up by SWAT. I'm not sure if the actual cam was being picked up. There's Pikachu's being spotted. So it does going to be picked up by PMW, who had the information of the drone ready on those stairs. That turns it into a 2-on-4 situation now, still in favor of Talon, as they are looking to make this a quick one as well. But it's going to be C now that will be able to pick up 1 kill, goes for the second one, but we'll be missing that one. It's all up to Ed now. Gets kill with the C4, knows one is going to be coming up from the white stairs, goes for the pre-fire, hits that one as well. It's a 1-on-1 situation now, only up against the Blackbeard. If there's one operator you would not like to be up against, it is a Monty or a Blackbeard in a 1v1 situation. Flashbang's being tossed in, but he's not going to be blinded too much as PMW sneaks around. He has no clue where the player actually is, and there we go, the shield will be taken out. Is he going to be able to land it? Yes, he does with the shotgun, Ed. As the legs peeked out, the shots came in from the NK-17, but it wasn't enough to get that kill. It's the shotgun just in time, able to stop that Blackbeard from winning that round for Talon. And we are all drawn up again, 2-2.
Well, round and round we go. Seems to be the moral of this opening half, and step for step, lessons are being learnt quite quickly and aggressively, and I guess this is going to be a good old-fashioned long day of APAC. Laundry is where we're going to head on back to, and they're going to see if they can make something work here on the 3rd time's the charm. Obviously, they're able to pull it together the 2nd time round with... We talked about the idea of adaptation, and if you need to change stuff, or if you just feel you can do better, well, they felt they could do better, and they proved it. Talon, they feel like they can adapt, and the adaptation is the big man mountain on the far right. Monty is showing up for the first time.
Might be pushing himself down towards Fraser, as we saw the impact of Electrify the last time there, especially triple lift. Just pushing through, gunning 2 down, rotating all the way up, getting a kill through the hatch, and all the round was done at that moment in time. Pushing in that Monty now is going to be making sure that triple lift is not going to be able to just freely run up those stairs and basically massacre anybody he finds, as we'll have to deal with that shield first before thinking about anybody else.
I think the thing about the shield as well is how they intend to play it, because what we've seen from Electrify is when they've been able to take it, as I said before, it seems like there's little missed bits of communication information from the hands of Talon. Sure, Electrify have suffered and stumbled at sometimes, but so far, even on the rounds that they've lost, we've seen a little bit more awareness of where the Talon players are. Then things unfortunately just go wrong. I'm curious if this Monty does get a little bit isolated and could suffer a structural pulling apart, because PMW has often been one of the ones that's been in and amongst the frags and in and amongst the movement and momentum. So when you are opting to try and put him onto this role of being the slow, staunch kind of eyes in the room, you've got to make sure that you have that intel, that information is transitioning and transporting properly along the long line of your attack.
So it's a bit of the discussion, right? Are you going to be putting your second or best fragging player onto that Monty? Because it is, I mean, it is quite of a niche role. It's not that easy to play. I mean, like, Monty is an easy operator to play, but hard to master, I guess, in some sense, because you need to position yourself well.
Easy to pick up, but hard to do things with. Because you've got to think about the momentum you got to carry, you got to drop and apply the pressure. You have to make sure people know you're a threat, whilst also making sure that you don't get killed. That's a hard juggle.
It's a hard juggle indeed. And tomorrow, able to get that first one onto Addis. BMW just taking a little bit of damage. It's going to be pushing towards the boiler side of things now, just to help out Soldier a little bit. Play a bit for Shepard. The Soldier gets stacked up, the pre-fires won't be hitting, and this BMW is going to be trying to force them away. There we have it. There's not much you can do as soon as that shield is playing upon you. And they just decide to toss a smoke canister in there, because that's about all you can do. Impact coming in right here. Sino taking a bit of damage. Grenade might almost take down PMW as he moves in. It's just blocking off the doors in this moment in time. But there we have it. The smoke canister is perfectly tossed in. PMW almost dying from that one as we're finding ourselves in a 2-on-4 situation. Make that. No more smoke canisters left, and that means BMW doesn't have much to fear for.
What you missed there was a big play that happened on the second story as well. You could kind of see it across the top of the screen was the rotation from Pikachu, which was shut down alongside Triple Lift. Now, it's a bit of a firefight and a bit of confrontation inside the site, and purely inside the site itself, because if that had gone the other way from Talon, well, that could have been a completely different round. They're able to get in and stick the diffuser, but Sino might not be entirely safe and confident the way he knows where it is.
What?
Now he is. He just pushes up forward, gets close, almost gets the second, but Soldier is able to pull it out with a sliver of health. Look at PMW2, Ray. 30 seconds to pull a play here and still has a C4 in hand too. This could be the moment that takes care of at least one of these two operators. Goes close and blows it too, and there it goes. What are you doing, PMW? Soldier sticks the diffuser, the right play and the right moment, but a graze is enough to take them out of this. They have to play this silently, staunchly, and watch it from the safety of the freshly washed linens as they make sure that they can keep an eye and a beat on the clean movements here. A great diffuser placement is going to give a little bit of the game away as to where he is. Pre-fires and Ray finds it!
No way he didn't get that. The quick jiggle peek from Ray there saved his life because the position was so well. There wouldn't have been a better position for the 1 HP Zofia to play behind. Had the head glitch, had the basket in front of her face. There was just see-through, just enough to be able to spot the movement of Ray. But as she missed the kill, it is Ray that managed to, well, basically re-peek again and get that one bullet in that was necessary to get the kill and get the defuse and put Electrify on front, Electrify on 3. Is now Kitchen Dining will be their site, but that round must hurt so badly for the likes of Talon.
First team to be able to tie rounds in a row, and it's the team that hasn't been able to get a single entry frag. They have been consistently in a little bit of hot water when it comes to the opening of these rounds, but as I kind of cited, playing on the second story there and being the play that came back with the control of that second story, sure, a lot was going on with Monty around pillars, but it was so kind of important and monumental, the little bit of a swing of control that came in underneath. A couple of questionable moments. Yet again, unfortunately, sure. But, yet again, we see Electrify being able to pull something from some guts, a lot of chutzpah in those plays.
What?
It's, you got a lot of guts. You got a lot of chutzpah.
Oh, that's like, yeah, I didn't get that one. Don't make it.
Like,
don't put all these fancy pronunciations in, please.
It's like a mafia thing.
Oh, is it? I'm not part of it. Sorry.
No. I don't think when you were built in the Android factory, because you are a robot, I don't think that they programmed.
I do not have emotion.
They didn't program crime into you.
No, I'm like one of those. There's good doers robots, right?
Yeah. Like, you're the good robot for my robot.
There we go. I'm a good guy. Oh no, good Android.
Good Android.
Good program.
Yeah, it's like... Yeah.
Good source code. That's what I am.
Hey, talking of good source code, let's see what happens when we go to a third site for the first time. Obviously, Electrify have been able to tie two together. laundry and dorm. So, well, as is this map and as is tradition, the third is always up in the air. And this time they're going to go with kitchen and this famed shower extension.
I'm always a bit confused when you're playing a mute or a well, I would get a smoke, but not really a mute. But I'll put the Maestro down there as Ed starts things off, takes down PMW. No more air jabs that will be deployed, and that is going to be playing into favor of, well, normally triple lift, but it seems like Ray's on that bit of a roamy roll now onto that Jaeger. Can just freely run out everywhere, can just freely rotate around the map. Doesn't have to worry about being blasted into the sky. As the big CSRX is going to be taking care of that, well, castle barricade. Oh no, didn't take care of the castle barricade. Apparently got picked up by an ADS there. That's really unfortunate.
Well, the pressure's starting to come in a different manner this time, as Talon, for the first time ever, aren't the opening body dropper. They seem to be trying to apply as much on the top of small tower as they can, but otherwise there's only so much you can kind of achieve down there before you start to have to apply onto shower and the corridor around the side of it. Here comes a bit of a movement, a bit of momentum, and tomorrow gets a little bit more and a little bit more. The double falls inside shower as they take very quick decisive control, the kind of movement and momentum you've been wanting them to play properly for most of these rounds. Now then, they have a bit of a basic idea of where they need to play, but as we've seen time and time again, the victim that they often have to play is the response from Electrify, who are so good and so adept at rotating into these trouble situations, one apiece. As they fall and keep their body count with 40 seconds, they're able to start putting the diffuser down, the earliest, I believe, they've been able to try and do this, but there's a big gun on the far side that's trying to stop it. A little too late. Doesn't quite catch the close corners. There is an aggressive push, but there is two, and there is Talon locking us up.
I was going to say, look at the HP of two of these members on the likes of Talon. Both are a one-tap with that cam, with the Evil Eye. But the Evil Eye was mispositioned for the plant, wasn't able to find it, so wasn't able to get that final zap in to make sure that the plant would be stopped. And that means you have to throw your buddies at it, because you do not want to be in that retake situation, especially with the limited amount of information and manpower they had. But a 3-3 split, I still think that's a pretty good one here for Electrify, as we know that they consistently become better as the match progresses, as of course was to be seen as well after they managed to pick up 2 rounds in a row on their defense side. The question is, can they continue this onto their attack right now? Are they able to dismantle whatever Talon will be bringing to Kid Storms? As a Ying comes out, might execute some quick plays coming through, for example, big window or into at it.
Well, really, look at who was also locked in the hands of PMW. And
it is the Warden.
Neither of those two are sick pick as well. Both of them led immediately into that strat and into that play. Usually if you have one or the other and you're on your first round, you'll at least maybe try and sick pick it, maybe try and play the guessing game, and maybe try and have that tactical one-up, because that is those two operators, is haha, here's my card, haha, here's my Warden reverse card. That is usually how it goes. This is their like, these are my cards and let's just have a fist fight and let's see who comes out on top in what you kind of hope is going to be a quick and aggressive round.
Or at least have a quick and aggressive ending. As you might want to set up first, you know, take your time opening up all these walls, setting up, taking care of the utility, destroying these shields. And of course make sure the ADSs are flushed, because it would be a shame if your Candela, because you only have 3 of them, would be picked up by any of these ADSs that have been brought by tomorrow. No Warden. Warden. No, Maya meant.
There is a Warden.
Not sure how I managed to mess that one up.
We just talked about him being there.
Yeah, I know. I think I
programmed my casting robot badly, but we'll fix that now as we start to see if they've programmed this attic take a little bit tighter. They want to apply the pressure onto the highway window, and with the Nomad doubling up too, well, I'm curious if, yeah, this is what I was going to say, is Ying going to stick around on this side, because you kind of want her on the immediate impact. You could take her as a slow push and take a bit of ground and a bit of ground, but you know there's going to be a lot of utility in attic. Tomorrow hits an air jab a little bit late, didn't somehow get that the first time round, and well, that was a lucky escape.
I was going to say, besides that, no one following up and actually trying to get that kill, which is more confusing in my opinion. As now the stuns are coming in. PMW playing with this shotgun here in Armory. He's worried about the fact that there is pressure coming from the window. It might be coming in from the stairs soon as well. Triple able to potentially get the kill in there. We have it, the first one in favor of Electrify. And that will allow them to take this control now of Armory to push through towards the eventual site. As Pikachu is ready on the Armory stairs, both of them looking to make an impact. Tomorrow yet again at the bottom of these stairs, hoping to go for some sort of impact play, but he might be picked up from the back. Pikachu, as his head will be spotted out, loses his life, and Tomorrow yet again will be running probably for the freezer stairs this time around, as that is the only one he hasn't hit yet.
I mean, you've got to give credit there to obviously the play, being able to pull apart the Nomad on one side, and I guess if anything, and I cited it before about Talon losing that Roma, same story there from Electrify. They got a little bit too blinkered. They expected, I guess, a little bit of a different pattern of movement, but great read there from Tomorrow, who just decides to bury himself back underneath and try and potentially strike on tower stairs yet again. Either way, there's still a lot of work left here on the site itself, and with only 30 seconds, you start to expect to hear some Candelas popping sooner rather than later. They need to start trying to apply this pressure, and it's going to start with some smoke canisters. You can hear the catch, you can hear the Candelas, you can hear the pops on the attic side. They push aggro to get a body, but they look the wrong way, and that is a big loss. It brings us back into a 3-3, but it's caught on the rotation there. Tomorrow goes down. Triple Lift is able to pick one up as the diffuser goes down in and amongst the chaos. Ray with one more puts us into a 1 versus 3. Has an idea of someone on the close angle, but they're in 3 separate locations, and you're unfortunately caught in the middle with the game given away. It's only a matter of time, I think, and it is. As Electrify step back into the lead.
Well played here. They open up the attic from the start, so they could be going for, you know, that little bit of pressure onto the attic. Only a small opening as well, so it might not be that visible or that audible for the opponent team. Of course, they would be aware of it. But as soon as the Scadellas come in and you see that Ying loses the gunfight, the player on attic was already pushed up so far that he's able to go for the refrag straight away. And that allows you to take the lead after that and push on forward from there on forward. And that leaves us into the position where we are right now. Electrify able to get that attack just railed up, and they managed to close it out 4-3. 2 rounds away from being on the safe haven of overtime. 3 rounds away of getting their win. Their first win, I believe it is, this stage.
First win, Electrify, and to be honest, they've been playing well. The thing that I'm seeing between these two teams, and I know I've talked about it in the game as well, it just seems to be little lapses in communication. We're having these cyclical moments of a player rotating off, causing an impact, and then being able to continually cause an impact. It's a lack of focus to some, it's maybe just a drop in communication to others. Either way, unfortunately, both teams seem to be suffering from it right now, and I guess they're kind of hell-bent, seemingly, on getting into the site and getting the diffuser down, and unfortunately sometimes it's at the cost of the entire round itself.
Sometimes indeed, you're too focused on actually playing the objective. People forget to think about the fact that there is still, you know, people you have to care for at that moment in time. But it's a fine balance, and it's a thin line of balance as well. You know, it's hard to say like, okay, when is the plant justified, when is it not? Because sometimes it's a 5-on-4 situation and the plant goes down, there is no issue, no threat whatsoever. But sometimes where you're finding yourselves in a 3-on-2 situation, you think like, all right, we can hold off the 2 angles to come to site, and they go for the plant and everything just goes wrong, and it was too much risk to take into account. So, like, you cannot just look at man count, you also have to look at the utility, the placement of those players, the verticalities that might be there, what is being held. So much factors going into whether or not a plant would be safe or not.
One of the things I'm curious to see if it grows, I guess, is the aggression that might come from Talon. They were quite good in the glimpse that we saw of their defense until, well, it was just kind of pushed upon. And if they'd have maybe caught the diffuser going down, they might have been able to react a little bit differently. But when you're looking at that dorm site and you're looking at the movement that Diego was able to make, it almost became that monumental play. It was caught up on the rotation up the stairs. They had been able to get rid of and get control of the Candelas. They had done their research, predicted the play, and then from then on they just unfortunately couldn't make it matter. And I guess if we go back to the very first round where we saw Electrify lose and we said, could it be down to a difference of 1s? That round, very similar. It could have very much gone the other way if there had just been these 1 or 2 situations that might have swanned and swapped the other way. If we saw Tomorrow maybe push the attic kill at the very beginning when they somehow got past the air jab, sooner. If we saw X happen, Y happen, that's Siege, baby. And, you know, I guess it's something that we'll only know when we get in for our next round.
You should have died there as well as soon as he got blasted back from the air, because you saw how close the player on the stairs was. Somehow wasn't feeling comfortable enough to push for that kill. But you know, in all these alternate universes that are out there, maybe Talon would have won that round. As so many different things, so many decisions that could have just, you know, worked out differently, and you never know how it would be ending out after. Like, there's so many of these big moments in Siege if you think back on them, and like, what if the smoke would have waited for 2 seconds before peeking out? What if the smoke canister would be popped, let's say, a second later, right? It's like so many small things that make up like incredible big plays and proper executes happen. And you're thinking like, what if it changed? Would we have had a different team currently, you know, being the world champion, for example?
That's it. And that's the joy of Siege and the joy of Rainbow, and in a way the joy of Oregon, because Oregon is still one of those conflicted maps. I think teams are monumental on their attacks or on their defenses. You have these standout moments and standout holds that can happen across both the attack and the defense. It's split from team to team and place to place and game to game, and in some cases day to day as well. It seems that sometimes teams will show up a little bit stronger and a little bit more defined and a little bit more steady, and here I guess what we're looking at is why it's so similar and so, you know, consistent in the pool is because, well, these two teams across both their attack and their defenses of what we've seen so far, they fill both gaps, and I guess it's just whoever has that little bit extra today.
I am going to pull up some extra stats here today, all right?
Throw me
because
some
you know,
stats.
I'm feeling a bit fancy about it, and we are going to be checking the overall standings currently in APAC, and you know what the bottom 4 teams are: Talon, Electrify, Norarengo, and Scars. After stage 1, that is, of course. Phase 1, stage 2 will still have to be added, but we only know those points after the next Playday. So we'll take a while before we know that, so we're going to be able to make better estimations on that. But Talon and Electrify both find themselves currently in the bottom 4. You know what that means, Luke?
What does it mean?
It means relegation.
Dun dun dun.
Dun dun dun. However, Electrify is currently dominating their own region, so for them it probably wouldn't be too much of an issue, because of how relegations work. Like, they get the national champions, they put them together in the pool with the people who are being relegated. And I'm not 100% sure of it, but I think if you're the winner of your own national, but you're also being relegated, that would make up for 2 spots, which is kind of hard to fill, I think.
I think that's it too, as well, as when you're looking at how this region has had a light shone on it. A lot of these teams have a history of playing against each other and kind of playing these close games, and there's a lot of stories that we didn't know until we got eyes into the region, until we got eyes into this. And at the same time, you can kind of see in the short space a lot of this region learning from each other. And I think that's why it's in a way so attacker heavy or so aggressive, is they're throwing themselves at each other as a kind of learning experience.
It is a learning experience, Steve, but I think, but I'm not 100% sure, that we do have ourselves some new rounds to come up.
Ooh.
Ooh.
What a treat.
What a treat indeed. Round number 8 and onwards will be portrayed on your television monitor at home right now. On twitch.tv/rainbow6, of course. The Ying coming out and the Water being 6 picked out. That's some mind play and a half.
I mean, this is something that I kind of talked about before. I mentioned it in the first round. I was like, a Ying and a Warden, and they were both just in year 5. They were both shown to each other, and then I see it on the second time round, and it's, oh, okay, the change there, it's, okay, wait, hang on, now they're playing the game. Okay, are they gonna bring this, are they gonna bring the, no, they haven't brought the Ying, let's swap off the Warden. Oh, they've swapped to the Ying. It's a change. They're judging people, they're throwing people out. It's crazy.
Now imagine next round they're not going to be picking that Ying again, but they're not going to 6-pick to it either, and Talon will actually be keeping up with the Warden, considering they might be afraid of it. Depending, of course, on how this round will go. If they manage to just shut down the Ying without any issue, really, they'll probably not adapt into it. But if the Ying will be posing a problem and a threat, then surely you can imagine, well, maybe, oh, there's the Wamai as well I was talking about before. more counters to come out, just to make sure that it is not going to be as likely that that the Candelas will just be coming through like they did.
4-3. A step ahead, and, well, they're doubling down on dorms. This is something, again, let's cite that big old book of things we've said. And we talked about the fact that some teams want to try and develop. Some teams will see a problem that's happened and said, we can fix that. This will be our round this time round. And, well, so far, it's kind of been true for the defenses of Electrify. Can Talon prove the point as well on their attacks? Or on their defenses even, not on their attacks, where things unfortunately couldn't double down. Here comes the Kaid Claw, and here comes the play, but just catches it there, just stops that new gadget being popped, and that angle, which is a very important one, falling into the control of the attackers.
I think that the Heart Breach gadget deploys twice as slow as an actual termite charge, which gives you plenty of time to trick it with either Kaid or Bandit. But it does prove to be a bit troublesome now for the likes of Electrify, because they're not going to be able to open up as freely as they did before. As BMW now wants to open up on... Oh, okay, I was going to say, Sino, don't toss that Selma yet, because it's about to be electrified, and there we have it. It's Electrified that will have to deal with electrification. You would assume that they are able to do that, considering the name. The question is, will they?
Slow and steady, the drones roll their way through these wooden corridors and look to see if they can get a pick on any of the bodies that are otherwise in. Talon is the first to try and break that, and that's quite an important kill. I talked about this boy coming up those back stairs beforehand, and this time he makes it happen. Nomad off the board, Nomad taken out of the equation, and APAC falling further and further away from those attackers. Now they're in a little bit of a tight spot because they don't have that pinch angle that was so important for the location they put the diffuser down in before, which was just on the inside of that APAC side. So Pikachu has to head off, and with all the demand that Ashcatcher may make of this small yellow electric rat, well, you've got to try and strike. And your victim is just creeping around this dining kitchen side. There is a slow steady. There is only 30 seconds. And now there is a bit of noise that might start to lure the Jaeger over. They find it. They spray it. And oh no, yet again, a miscommunication and misappropriation of the player starts to fall against the favor of one of these two teams. A 4 versus nobody. As Talon pull themselves back level.
Kaid really working out there as they managed to stop any pressure from APAC to come through. After that, also making sure the master bedroom would not open up. And that leaves you with very little options. That forces you to go from below to take out these Electroclaws. But there was too little time left, apparently, in the eyes of Electrify to try and deal with that utility. So they just tried to go for these frags. As Pikachu just wanted to push up, they forgot about the fact that the Jaeger still was on a roam. And that came back to cost them in the end. Able to pick up 2 kills tomorrow. Again, the Ying being 6 picked in, and the Kaid as well. I'm just hoping that Electrify is going to be able to actually deal with the Electroclaw a bit more efficiently compared to what we've seen before. Because right now we will be going downstairs, which makes it even harder. Like, a Maverick wouldn't have been the wrong choice here.
No, it would have been a great choice here. I guess, okay, you have Kaid being 6th pick, but he was played the round before. You would expect them, I guess, in the rule of expectation to go, well, they're on a site where Kaid is fantastic here. They have these hatches that are very ever-present in any push. You either got the electric hatch on this side if you want to put the pressure onto blue to get any control and try and apply some pressure or burn ADSs around pillar. But if you're going for a laundry take, oh, there's the laundry hatch that you also need to get control of as well. If you want to put freezer, oh, there's a freezer hatch. There's a lot of hatches. And unfortunately, well, they may just stay locked this time round, which it's not an impossible take by any means. Good team, good aggression, and good frags can always pull you out of a lot of situations, but it is not going to be as easy as it might have otherwise been able to before.
Definitely not. It's tomorrow again on that run, but this time we'll be forced to fall back quickly. Not taking the risk to be running into the meeting hall after that door just got opened up, and that will mean that he is going to be trying to mimic, well, Shaiko, and what he did the last time we saw him play in Oregon. Just aggressively swing out everywhere, trying to get all these kills in. We know that it is possible, and tomorrow hoping to be able to pull off such a play now as well.
The waiting game. is the game PMW wants to take, and the top of T3 is where he's going to wait. In my head, I look at these situations, and all I can think of the words I've repeated many times this game is, oh, I hope the information game improves slightly, because yet again, we may see a story where just a roamer, just a flank with a lot of bold play is able to pull something out. He is not treated as a threat. Whether they know he is there or not, I guess we don't really know as of yet, but PMW has no rush. He can relax up here, he can wait on the top of T3 like he's on a lovely holiday until he decides, well, gotta get back to work, the office needs me, and the office is the business of shooting people in the back of the head when they're not really expecting it. And Ray, you're on the Nomad, you're on the flank watch, but 2 rounds in a row, we haven't really seen it be massively successful. Tomorrow wants to apply some pressure up from the bottom anyway, and wants to try and see if they can pinch the man in the middle, but there is just a shoulder and a bit of cover, as PMW is actually going to rotate off and try and find himself a second holiday before he decides the honeymoon period is over.
I was going to think how aggressive and how effective will it be as Tomorrow wants to fall back after shooting the air jet. I wasn't going to be seeing the TCSG doing too much work from T3, but of course he's going to be here to try and play this flank game as he will be falling back into freezer. Will he be heard? No, he will not. We'll be able to get a huge double kill there as both are on the drone. How unfortunate. PMW able to pick them up. Drop that diffuser as well, and Freezer is back in control, but it's not over yet because Ray's here. Ray's there to pick up the kill onto Tomorrow. That is one of you 2 roamers gone. Will be trying to fall back even further, but he will have to be careful because the Kaid is still on the prowl as well.
Both these teams have seen flanks as free real estate, and both of them have led to rounds where the aggression is generally happening around the site after things have started to go wrong for one or the other. 2 versus 2. Out of that start shows good things for Electrify, but at the same time, Ray's on a flicker of health, and they only have 15 seconds, and he already shot a corpse there, so they give a bit of the game away. In the meantime, Pikasu's bored of waiting, starts trying to kill inside the site, and just finds them all!
Pikachu used quick attack. As he moves in and takes them out one by one.
It's super effective.
But man, it is super effective. But man, I was so like, okay, I'm happy Electrify got their round, right? Because I'm a big fan of them, and I voted for them here today as well. But after that double kill, that clinical, right? He's on his drone, he's not a direct threat. Let's check if there's anybody else. Oh, another one on his drone. Guess I could just one-tap them both. And you still lose the round after that? That is so unfortunate for the likes of Talon. And Electrify able to get back in on Pikachu, who hasn't had the best of seasons, is really showing up here today.
You know, it's hard to keep repeating yourself in this game because you don't want to. You always want to try and look for fresh ways to, I guess, offer some potential assistance towards why things are going a certain way. You want to explain what you're seeing on screen and break it down and kind of go, well, theoretically it could be this, theoretically it could be that, but like a mad person with a board with a lot of red string on, slapping it and looking for Pepe Sylvia, the only thing that keeps showing up on this undelivered mail for me is the lack of communication, the lack of insistence on acting upon it. If it is being talked about, if it is being thrown down, the most consistent play that we have seen throughout this game has been the surprise play, has been the I'm here and I'm going to get a kill. Okay, you see that in a lot of Siege. But then you see them almost continually and consistently get another one, and then maybe a third, if they're feeling aggro enough. Players from both teams, both sets, and multiple different names are popping up on that fabled board in the top right with a slew and a pattern that seems to paint the whole town orange or blue, but it's just the only thing I can think that keeps falling apart, because otherwise both these teams are being really creative with what they're doing.
They are being really creative, but they both lack the opportunity to close out these rounds, especially Talon. You were 5-3 up after not even taking a gunfight yet. Because you cannot call that a gunfight. Someone finding 2 people sleeping in the freezer or being one-tapped out. You basically denied the entire push from one side of things, only have to worry about the other 2 at that moment in time. And somehow Electrify and the back of Pikachu will be able to find those 3 kills. And after that, his teammates show up as well. You find 2 more, and suddenly you have the round. And that's all she wrote.
So, Talon, one step behind, yet again, this dance of dance that seems to continually take a step and a quick step back and forth between each set of players, wasting no time. Electrify, as they start to apply the pressure onto hatches that otherwise went locked off and locked in last time round, they made sure they had the angles and ability to destroy these, and, well, I think they're going to strike while the iron is potentially hot. This is why this hatch can be so important, because it allows you to burn out these ADSs. It allows you to keep a bit of an eye on anyone that might have a cross angle. You can see that broken open on one side, so you can feed that to the people pushing blue that there's a big angle here. PMW pops an air jab and just gets it off the board. That was we know it's there, let's get rid of it now so it isn't a problem later on, and maybe, hey, in the habit of teams forgetting what's going on, they might forget that we've popped that. We might be able to do, yet again, another one of these big, bold and brash rotations that seem to put the numbers and notation up on the center on the board.
Triple Lift is going to be going for an aggressive peek and can tell you that right now because he just droned out that one player just standing by in the corner. He just has to be careful for the second player who just took out his drone, who was playing close to it. And as I say, that Zamora able to drop down that diffuser. Sino will go down. Not quite sure from where, but that is the first kill to come in for this round. And right now they're on the recovery run, and the likes of Electrify, Brief Fire will come in. BMW takes down Triple Lift, and that brings it to a 5-3 situation again. But the question is, can they bring it back this time? Yes, they can. 3 kills coming in from Electrify, and suddenly they're back on the board. This is a recurring theme right now. You pick up 2 players, and suddenly it all falls back into the wrong ways. Ray picks up yet another one. The plant, however, needs to come down. Will the cover be there? There comes the kill. Pikachu with yet another one, and Electrify wins that round, takes the lead and expands on it as well. And Talon, what are you doing?
There's a lot of, I'm assuming, confusion and head in hands from some of these moments for some of these fans and some of these kind of bits and bobs that are happening in this, because as I said, both teams have looked so good at points, and then both teams have had errors like that, where these are generally entirely falling your way in your favor. And then, okay, yeah, sure, the other team steps up and steps in, but you still have the man advantage. You still have the ability to set up for trade, set up for cover. That very important T at the end of the KOST rating is, well, the make or break for a lot of teams. And unfortunately, it's being the break here for all the rounds that have otherwise slipped away from them. 6-4, Talon. 2 chances to pull this back. And, well, the first is going to be on Dorms, a site that has been your only successful defense so far, but only on the second time you attempted it.
Second time indeed. This will be the time to play it. Alright. Talon. Are you going to be able to put up yet another round? We see the Kaid coming back in. Still no Maverick coming out from the likes of Electrify. At this moment in time when the Kaid is being brought in, you know it will be after it was so successful on this hold. You would assume that a Maverick would be brought out, or an IQ to deal with it from below, or, well, just a general player going from below to try and deal with the Electric Law. Either neither of these things are happening, and this might mean a bit of trouble for the likes of Electrify. So I'm really hoping they will be putting in that bit of extra ground, that bit of, well, extra dimension into their attack here.
Let's see if they can get some solidity, because yet again we're seeing Talon lock down almost every single opening kill. The previous 3 rounds have all been in their favor. Throughout this entire game, only 2 have fallen into Electrify's hands as the opener, but, well, there's 2 rounds that separate them from Talon, and only 1 that could potentially lock them off this precious set of points to carry them off the bottom of the board here, potentially. Either way, it's all starting with a bit of an intense hot drone clear from underneath. Slow and steady through Freezer, through hopefully any of these surprise strikes that might catch them, and well, you really hope that they caught Tomorrow here, because if this is a missed drone, if this is a missed moment, and if this is a misplay, okay, they did catch him, and they caught him.
Pikachu stepping up. I'm really hoping he will be getting some extra praise here on the analyst desk today, because he hasn't been too impactful in stage 1 in its entirety. And this match, the man has been, well, pretty much deciding in my eyes, as he's been able to just cut through the side time and time again, pick up these huge multi-kills as well. And if Electrify win it, I think he played a massive part in it. But not just him, the entire team is showing up right now. And as I said, they need some time to get into the match. They need some time to warm up. And if they manage to get these 3 rounds at the start, that should be plenty of time for them to close things out. And it's definitely looking like it might be heading that direction right now.
Well, with the flashes starting to come and over a minute left on the board, they know that they want to put this pressure onto the big window. You have a smoke with his canisters to try and stem and slow the roll. Still has 2 in pocket, potentially 1 is pre-placed. It is, and there it goes. Pops on the opposite side, but frees up the ability to try and stop the instantaneous push here. Ray, in the meantime, has gone down. The Nomad has suffered on the opposite side, and Talon have been able to strike back yet again. BD is surviving the explosion of the ground just beneath him, but again, it's only a matter of time. We can see that the pressure is coming in hot and heavy, and Ray's back to his feet. You worry about the Candelas in the pocket of Ed. If they can thread and kind of trace them properly around this room, they can really dig into the push here as the pressure starts to come on the attic side as well. Only 30 seconds. Separate this and separate Talon from being able to hold on and try and push themselves back within 1 round buffer. It's more than capable with how close these 2 teams have been, and the smoke canister is going to buy them another precious 15 seconds. Big rotations you can see happening towards the windows as they look to try and apply the pressure onto the main dorms there. Sino has the diffuser in hand, and the Candelas are going to draw some focus away, but PMW lying close and in wait might be the make or break here. There's the swing, there's the miss, there's the catch. The Pikachu pushes hard, and they somehow get the man close, but he goes down in the fray. Electrify have to lock up 1 more kill or try and stick this diffuser. Everybody's on the floor, but so is the last player of Talon, and so is, well, an unbeaten or an always beaten record.
always beaten record, indeed.
It's broken. It's on the floor. It's gone. They got points.
They got points indeed. Electrify able to show up huge here, and the boys absolutely deserve that. Pikachu standing out. Absolutely insane. 7-on-1 after that rehost. A real driving power, but I really have to say that execute, it looked like it wasn't going to be happening for Electrify there. There was not that much time. All guns were aimed into the same direction, and that was the direction they would be coming from. But it didn't matter in the end. They just swung in, they managed to get the kills as well. Talon failed to get theirs. And that is basically the story of these last 3 rounds. How a 5v3 was turned back around twice. And then just to close it off with some nice Candelas and some nice synchronized pushes. Electrify, take that win, well deserved.
A lot of highlight reel potential, a lot of clips that maybe you only really want to show 20 seconds of a round because, to be fair, a lot of the times they're able to pull off the crazy plays. The round ended up going against their favor. Nah, that's not for me to work out. That's for those eggheads on the analyst desk. Let's see what they think of that show.
Thanks so much, King and Queen. We're back, Geo, James.